Now, what in the Royal Caribbean is going on here? So, unfortunately, it appears that we have a brawl, a scrap, a fight that took place recently on a Royal Caribbean ship in what appears to involve around 10 men and women, or in this particular case, should I say boys and girls. Now, we are going to go over the details that are available, as well as a lesson that I think should be taught here that a lot of people tend to bring up when it comes to the cruise ship industry and fights, as well as the conclusion to all of this. However, I do want to be straightforward with all of you and tell you that I'm not going to show you the video of the fight. It is available, so I will leave a link to it in the comments below. I will pin it. But the reason is, well, for starters, here on this channel, I do put out a lot of videos that are involving fights and all that, which YouTube does not find it suitable for advertisers. They don't like it. So what they'll do is limit your viewership, and it does go beyond the monetization aspect. Yes, you're not making really any money on the video, but whenever you post a video, you're only at the initial start of it, of posting and publishing, as good as your last video. So let's say if the video is limited, it gets 15,000 views. Well, YouTube's only going to show it to maybe 10 to 15,000 people next time, even if it is suitable for advertisers. Very nerdy stuff, but on top of that too, if you continue to, let's say, disrespect the platform and post things that aren't in the benefit of YouTube, eventually what they'll do is, well, shadow ban you, and then if you mess up too much, you can get deleted, and well, I don't want that to happen to this channel because I love being here on YouTube. Also, the content of the fight already belongs to some other YouTubers known as full-time cruisers. If I were to take their video content, it's something known as copyright infringement. I can get a channel strike, which if I get too many of those, my channel also gets deleted. Also, in case you're wondering, they can post it because from what I can see, they have less than 1,000 subscribers, meaning that they are not part of YouTube's partnership program, so there isn't a negative or really a positive effect of them posting the video other than you all going and watch the videos. And if you like their content, of course, give a like on their video and subscribe. The vessel that this big conundrum took place on was Royal Caribbean's Harmony of the Seas, launched in the year 2016, holds 5,400 passengers, currently completing 7-day sailings out of Miami over to the Caribbean. Now, the first thing I do want to say that when it comes to this, it is not just Carnival that fights take place on. There is a legitimate argument, because I talk about fights a lot, and it does normally revolve around Carnival Cruise Line. Carnival does, well, it has a lot of ships, and especially when you talk about things like the price, demographic, I have no shame in saying that I do believe that all of that, I'm not saying race, but I'm saying demographic as in, well, the type of people, because Carnival is like your average Joe's cruise line. You get people from literally all walks of life. To be clear, because I know a lot of the Carnival people are going to freak out, obviously you get a lot of variety with a lot of cruise lines. Like, for example, if you go to MSC, you're going to get a big international crowd of people from Italy, France, Spain, and South America, and then you got people from the United States also giving MSC a try. And well, I can tell you, as somebody that has sailed with MSC on 5 separate occasions, there's always been a little bit of scraps, and I don't think, like I said, it's a race issue. It is a culture difference, and when I say culture as well, you do have a culture that has been created on Carnival Cruise Line. Nobody can deny, whether it be the fun ship. A lot of people have translated that into the anything goes ships, but I'm not going to dwell on that too much. Get mad if you want to. Let's get more back into Royal Caribbean. So when it came to the conclusion, according to the YouTubers that post this particular topic, they are saying that the agitators, the people that got in the fight, I'm sure after a brief investigation, well, a brief but of course very thorough investigation, those people that did get into the scrap on board are going to be put off in the next port, and when that happens, well, they're going to be banned for life from Royal Caribbean on any ships, potentially banned from other cruise lines as well. And of course, after they get put off, they are going to have to fit the bill for flying their way home as well. I would also like to add, before we continue with the details, that this couple has been on over 130 cruises, and this is the first time they have ever seen a fight on board a cruise ship, which does give somewhat of a testimony to how rare this actually is. This does depend on the ship you're on and just the time of the year, the timing. I myself, I've only been cruising for 2 years. However, I believe I'm nearing like 50 cruises or something like that. I've seen a few fights. However, I do tend to go on a lot of the rowdy, rambunctious cruises, and this is why you see what you see. But I want to make it very clear, I'm not trying to scare people and make cruising this horrible thing. I'm in full support of the industry. I love the industry, so much so that I put literally tens of thousands, well, at this point, this year alone, I hate to say it, I looked at my financials the other day, over $100,000 this year alone into the cruise ship industry. And well, I'm happy to say it, to be honest with you, but I can tell you right now, my wallet isn't. Apparently all this happened around 11 p.m., so we're getting into the wee night hours when the nightclub and all that start to open. Some people got that liquid courage in them, and apparently and allegedly all this happened over by Sorrento's. That is the pizza place on board, so who knows, maybe somebody's waiting in line for some pizza after a long day and somebody just skipped the line, and just like that, that's how the scrap ended up happening. I don't know, but nevertheless, I think that there are very, very few reasons for people to have to put hands on somebody else. I've said before, unless somebody walks up to my mommy and slaps her, I really don't got much to say. I go on ships all the time. I know that, for example, I bring my girlfriend, people are going to be looking at her. I'm not going to sit here and get mad for somebody staring at my girl or staring at me or whatever. People fight for the dumbest reasons. I've seen fights where people are fighting because somebody got out of their seat and somebody else took the seat. I've seen fights happen because of the dumbest of reasons, and I never understand why. You're willing to spend thousands of dollars to get banned and have to pay more money to go home? Doesn't make any sense. It is disappointing and unfortunate that all this took place on a Royal Caribbean ship, let alone Harmony of the Seas. Why can't we all live in harmony and go on a vacation together and enjoy each other's company and make memories that will last a lifetime? I'm shocked by this for a couple reasons. Royal Caribbean, I do believe, is the best well-oiled machine in the industry. I don't sail Royal Caribbean a lot. I'm looking at a cruise right now to take at least one before I go on Icon and Utopia next year. However, I've said it repeatedly, as far as the marketing and what vision Royal Caribbean does have for the entire company, as far as what they want the overall aesthetics to be, as well as the culture and the environment, Royal Caribbean does a real good job by way of influencers and their advertisements and just kind of how they put up their content online, because this is, believe it or not, the digital world that we live in. Everybody is online. I mention this stuff all the time, and when you see stuff like this, especially Royal Caribbean being primarily, especially in the Oasis class, that's the class that Harmony of the Seas and Wonder and all that, it is more of a family-based line. You see a lot of typically families that are going on those cruise ships, so that means a lot of the times you're not going to see a lot of crazy situations happen. I would argue in the reverse, on the positive for Virgin as well, because you don't have such a crazy diverse group of people as far as like the age demographics and all that. You're going to have a little bit more of a tamed audience. If people are going there to party, they're going there to party, not get aggressive and have scraps for absolutely no reason at all. NCL is in a weird place. It is randomly hit or miss when it comes to how rambunctious the cruise is going to be. For example, when I worked on a Norwegian Escape, we called that the corporate ship. There was really never anything happening. There was a fight between a crew member once, and I saw like 2 fights on board during my entire 6-month contract. However, I was on the Prima last year. There was nothing that went down. Then I went on the Joy earlier this year, and man, it got a little wild in a positive and negative way. There was like 2 fights and there were a couple arguments, you know, just miscellaneous stuff. Then when I went on the Viva, there were a couple kids that were sneaking into the nightclub. When I say kids, I mean teenagers. They got into a fight with some other kids. It was a battle of the haves and the have-nots. Apparently there were some rich kids over in the Haven area, Suites area on board Norwegian ships, getting into a scrap because I guess they were trying to put down and belittle all the kids that were not in the Haven suites and were in like regular cabins. And well, that was the only thing that happens. But as you can see, when it comes to the industry as a whole, yes, I would argue that on some lines with some companies, there is unfortunately a aggressive culture that can kind of be there every now and then depending on the ship. Not all. I want to make that very clear. And meanwhile, you got other ships that are very sporadic, random, and things tend to happen there as well. Moral of the story, don't fight unless you absolutely need to. And I'm not promoting fighting in any way. All I'm saying is that I do believe there are some very, very, very few reasons to get into a scrap with somebody. However, if you do, just understand, as always, I say, you are free to do whatever you want in this world. However, you are not free from consequence. Of course, let me know your thoughts on this in the comment section below. Hit that like button on your way out. Subscribe if you haven't already. And of course, know that I love each and every one of you. I'll see you later on. Take it easy.